Another day, another video, and as I previously promised, mostly to myself because I am the person who needs some clarification in this case, and the topic is when and where. But why? It is super simple. Where pairs up with a place and when gets along with time. My problem and by extension the issue with Czech and its equivalence of these two is that the where in Czech it is kde can also be used in scenarios in which there is no clear indication if the speaker or the writer is referring to a concrete concept of either time or place. I even used it here with the scenario, but I sidestepped it by one of the possible substitutes. The other option is to use that, but that is not exactly proper English. The correct preposition is always preferred, according to my understanding, over the generic that. Oh, another disclaimer. I do not know anything, and everything I say here is subject to change and should not be taken seriously. Back to the topic though. Another example. This is a case when or where caution is recommended. And to me, to my I have read way too many books in my life instinct where appears more natural. I am pretty sure that is the grammatically correct, purer choice, but obviously rewarding it. For example, in this case, we have to proceed carefully, or this is a case in which caution might be necessary, and so on and so forth. But according to my research, the true grammar purists out there are rather strict when it comes to differentiating between time and place. Although, as with everything in this godforsaken language, I suppose it is debatable. Someone could take the idea of some location in time in a bit more verbatim way. However, I do believe that using them interchangeably is simply wrong. And since I'm trying to prepare for an official exam, any form of experimentation should remain strictly forbidden until after I get my C2s, which is obviously going to happen. For now, though, I think I should also at least attempt to avoid using the construction case which, when, where altogether, as it is sometimes colloquial and downright ungrammatical, but simply to me, to my pea-sized brain, it is not always obvious what to choose in the more abstract scenarios, and I will simply have to avoid going into those when I am in a situation which requires me to use proper English, although ideally I should stick to it in any and all situations when I get to use English, especially in a spontaneous way, because it does have to become a sort of a second skin if I am to ever truly become good at the language. And this is simply just another aspect that requires my focus, and I simply do have to pay attention, think things through before they leave my mouth, even risking a second or two of silence. But to me, that is still the preferred choice over sounding like a troglodyte. I can do that in Czech, which means I simply have to study and learn and think enough to be able to do that in English as well. Anywho, all of that is meaningless. What does matter is the Rapideros and them meeting the self-proclaimed owners of the stones in the river, as the other group of young men introduces themselves as, when their claim is questioned by Speedy and a demand for a receipt gets thrown into the fray, their response is less than friendly, for the one acting as their leader questions Speedy if he has ever had his face paved by a fat piece of turf, even adding an insult, calling Speedy a filthy hedgehog, coming dangerously close to infringing upon Bristles' copyright with his nickname. And then he also proceeds to send the first missile of this fight. Speedy swiftly dodges, even manages to throw a much more creative insult back, as he calls him a soddy box full of holes, even missing its cover. While he is bent down, he even manages to reach for his own shell to launch. Unfortunately, that is all he manages, as another piece of sword lands right on his face, sends him tumbling into the water amidst fears for his nose and its shape after half of the country just landed on it. The perpetrator even sends in some mockery and delight, which sends Speedy into a verbal frenzy. Again, rather creative one, as he considers the other boy a cake badly risen with no raisins, its bottom part extremely burnt, as more and more pieces of the land began flying through the air. Others are also getting hit. Redcap promises great revenge to whoever did that to him, calling him a rosin, even explaining that it is something used in combination with violins. Mirek then calls for a retreat or repositioning, as our heroes seek cover behind some of the taller rocks, as if being in the trenches. This tactical decision has but one tiny issue, as revealed by Indra in maybe a bit too resounding of a voice, as he gets reprimanded by Arka for revealing it to the enemy as well, because according to the aforementioned, their current location is completely devoid of any new mission, clearly spending way too much time around Speedy, but he does correct himself that it is actually ammunition. But this time the Rapideros are lucky, as this clearly disadvantageous situation takes a sharp turn, as one of the attackers gets hit by a piece of salt in the face. He immediately starts shouting that his eye must be gone, And so Mirag, the bearer of the good guy's torch, immediately snaps to action, stops the fight, offers a momentary truce, and even their medical knowledge, as it is most likely just a bit of sand in the eye, which after everyone gathers around the fallen soldier gets confirmed by a short examination. Then a boric acid gets retrieved from the club's first aid kit, and after a bit of tinkering, the boy's healthy eye is revealed to the world. As everything turns out fine, Yarka offers a permanent truce to celebrate the happy ending, and as they sit around on the previously disputed rocks, Speedy even takes back his creative name calling. No longer are they lidless boxes, undercooked cakes, and instead they all are a group of rather fine gentlemen. Peace, according to Speedy, is to be celebrated, and everyone all around the globe should strive to uphold it, and they all should like each other, as he proclaims with his arm around the shoulders of the other boy who hit him in the face at the beginning of the fight, showing that at the end of the day he does have a hard time holding grudges, and that he forgives as easily as he creates an enmity with another. Here it is, the end of the war, end of the video as well. Just two more chapters, and then it is the book's time to shine. And I am not a fan of change, so it is going to be difficult for me, but I'm sure that I will manage somehow.